Trump admin announces new immigration restrictions. What to know? A shooting occurred on November 26 in Washington, D.C., where two service members of the National Guard were allegedly ambushed by an Afghan national near the White House. As of writing, one of those service members, SPC. Sarah Beckstrom, has died of her injuries. The accused assailant, Ramanullah Lakanwal, was admitted into the United States for humanitarian relief after the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan in 2021. The incident prompted President Donald Trump to call for new restrictions on legal immigration to the United States, which were followed by more specific announcements by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services (USCIS) about steps it would take. The measures could affect millions of foreign nationals who are lawfully present in the United States, and who may have their lawful status reviewed, revoked, or otherwise affected. Below, we describe what has been announced, the specific steps that USCIS is taking, and what may follow from these efforts. What Trump said. Immediately after the shooting, the president delivered remarks to the nation in a videotaped message, where he called for a review of the status of Afghan nationals granted entry to the United States during the Biden administration, as well as more general efforts against allegedly anti-American foreign nationals. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, said Trump. He then added that, we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here, or does not add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. Later, Trump wrote a lengthy post on his social media platform, Truth Social, where he criticized the state of U.S. legal immigration more broadly, specifically the asylum system, referencing Somali immigrants in the city of Minneapolis in Minnesota. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, census, most of which are on welfare, from failed nations, or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. They and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens, wrote Trump. The refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey, as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses hoping against hope that they will be left alone, he added. In terms of specific policy steps, Trump wrote that he would permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover. He also said that he would remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States, end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. What is to be done? So far, 2 immigration policy steps have been announced by the Trump administration in the wake of the shooting. On November 28, USCIS announced that it would stop processing all asylum requests until further notice, which affects nearly 1.4 million people who have filed affirmative asylum applications with USCIS. Affirmative asylum means that an alien is requesting asylum in a non-punitive setting, and not in a deportation proceeding to avoid removal from the country. USCIS has halted all asylum decisions until we can ensure that every alien is vetted and screened to the maximum degree possible. The safety of the American people always comes first, wrote the director of USCIS, Joseph B. Edlow, on social media. Another step has been to enhance the review of applicants from 19 inches high-risk countries for immigration benefits. Edlow announced this policy update on November 27, one day after the shooting. Effective immediately, I am issuing new policy guidance that authorizes USCIS officers to consider country-specific factors as significant negative factors when reviewing immigration requests, wrote Edlow in a statement on the agency's website. The actual effect of the new policy guidance is limited. It directs that any country-specific factors that USCIS already considers when assessing immigration petitions from nationals of these countries be regarded as negative factors from the outset. In essence, an officer adjudicating a request for status may have more leeway to deny a petition on those grounds without providing an exhaustive justification. The entry of nationals from these 19 countries was already suspended and restricted by Trump via Presidential Proclamation 10,949 on June 4 of this year. The proclamation means that nationals of 12 countries, Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, the Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen, cannot generally enter the United States, while the nationals of 7 countries, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela, are restricted from obtaining non-immigrant visas for doing so. The proclamation, however, did not apply to nationals of these countries who are already in the United States on other valid statutes. EDLO's directive will affect them, should they seek to apply for discretionary benefits that USCIS normally issues to grant people status, e.g., adjustment of status from being a non-immigrant to a lawful permanent resident, change of non-immigrant status from one class of admission to another, and extensions of non-immigrant status that may be requested. It is unclear how many foreign nationals from these 19 countries are lawfully present in the United States, and how many have pending applications or petitions before USCIS. The directive does not mean that such persons will necessarily be denied immigration benefits, and any denials can be appealed administratively, as well as through federal courts. Debates on legal immigration reform. Conservatives, both generally and in the Trump administration, have long argued for more restrictions on legal immigration. We have got to become a common community again. And you can't do that when you have such high numbers of immigration, said Vice President J.D. Vance during a public event on October 29. The shooting on November 26 has spurred calls for more screening or restrictions for legal immigration. It remains unclear whether or not the Trump administration will pursue them. Trump himself has often voiced nuanced views on the subject, particularly given his recent support for H-1B status issuances to foreign nationals, which have been frequently used by major American tech companies. No,